Hello. Hello, friends. How are you guys doing tonight? It's that time. Tuesday night fun. I'm ready. Are you? Okay, you know how we always have our stuff a little prepared before the live. Paper's not completely cut, but this is the idea I have for the card. So we're going to stick with colors along this line. All right, so we're going to reveal something right here. Was hoping some of you would pop on before we did that. So if you happen to jump on, make sure that you say hi so I can see that you're watching. And I can make sure I can see comments. That's really important. That way I can tell if we're talking to each other, if it's just me. Hey, Meg. Hey, Anna. How are you guys doing? Look, my little frog's hanging out on my desk today. Hi, Beth. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some upcoming features that you're going to be able to get on the site. Hey, Mom. Yeah. So when we kick off the website, which is going to happen on this Saturday. I mean, we're less than a week away now. It's exciting. Hey, Beth. Hey, Cheryl. I have Beth 1 and 2 here tonight. Yay. Okay. So I am going to be including, we'll have stamp sets like we talked about, but they're going to be slow. They're going to come out. They're going to be we have to build them up. So it's going to take a little while. So in the interim, I thought having some digital images would be super fun. So I have one tonight that I'm going to make as a freebie when the shop opens. So you won't have to buy this one. We're going to color it tonight. I'll upload the video to YouTube so you can watch it after you can get yours. But make sure that you don't forget to go out there on Saturday and grab your free image. So are you guys ready for the reveal of it? Some of you may have seen something similar if you've been following me for a very long time. But for tonight, this is what we have. So what's the advantage to digital images? Well, you can make them big or small. You can make them, I've made all the images in extremely large files, so you can print them on 8.5 by 11. This one is actually about 5 by 4.5. This one is only 3.5 by 3.25. So you can stretch them, make them bigger, make them smaller, make them whatever you want. And there's going to be quite a few of them out there. Now, if you've been following for a long time, you've seen some of the images that I've colored in the past or that I've drawn in the past that are no longer available to get anywhere else. Well, I didn't want to remake every one of those into a stamp set. So some of them will have been altered and then released in the digital format. So there's going to be a lot of digital along with a bunch of other things. Hi, Shalana. But this right here is going to be my little ice cream pup. Now, I already cut him out so we could color him. But how cute is that? It could be just a little monster. It could be a little puppy. It could be whatever you want. So I'm going to color it like a little puppy in the ice cream cone tonight. That's what we're going to do. But isn't he cute? Then we're going to make him into a card because this is so much fun. So this is an image that just was something that just came out of my head. It's cute for any child or just a friend. Yes, for sure. So sometimes they come out like this and they're not really a specific something. They're just something that generated in my head. and that would be what it comes out as. So we're going to work on how to color the cone and how to make chocolate chip mint ice cream and how to color our puppy with spots. So we have a lot of little techniques we're going to run into tonight, which I think will be super fun. I will probably be going live Saturday morning to tell you about all the goodies, and maybe if you can stretch me enough, I might do it on Friday. But right now it's scheduled for Saturday morning, and the new release, I'm contemplating doing something from the new release on Thursday. I haven't decided for sure, but Dale gave me an idea tonight, and I thought maybe I'd do it on Thursday. It would be a sneak peek of one of the images in the stamp sets that are coming out. So make sure you come back. They'll be brand new, something you've never seen before. No one's ever seen it. I just drew it recently. So definitely come back on Thursday and check that out. But tonight, let's go ahead and get this guy colored. Now remember, if you happen to leave the video, don't forget this is going to be a freebie for you to download from the website. So if you want it, it'll be free. So yeah, there you go. You won't even have to buy it. All you have to do is go look at the website, and we'll take any feedback on the website once it's up and running that you guys have for us. But we're doing our best to make it as simple and easy to sift through, and lots of very clear pictures on exactly what you're getting and all that kind of stuff. And we'll go over the details of everything when we do our kickoff live. So you'll have the information that you need in order to know what's on the website and all that kind of stuff. So yes, it's going to be really fun. We have a lot of products that we did ourselves that normally you get from other places that are ordered from China. But Dale's been working really hard to learn how to make those things here in the US, so we didn't have to ship them in. They're handmade. So that's a lot of fun, and that's what's taken so long for us to get this done. So some of the stuff that you're going to be able to get at Ledoux Designs is going to be unique. You won't be able to get it anywhere else. And we're not doing wholesale. So nobody will be able to purchase them because we want to keep the price as cheap as possible for you guys. So we're hoping this is going to be a fairly inexpensive, fairly, comparable shop that you'll be able to get some of the things at a really good price. So that is our goal. And that has been our goal since we had imagined this, was what can we do to cut costs and to make things less expensive and to make things affordable. So hopefully you will be happy with what we've done. But you can let us know what you think when the time is right. We really appreciate it. So right now I'm starting to yes, me too, Anna. I mean, I know how it is with everybody else, everybody, the economy and all that craziness right now. And so currently dyes will not be available right off the bat because we are not going to China right now for that kind of stuff, and you can't make it in the US. So requesting a SVG cut file if you need that. We might be able to start adding that to our digitals, but for now, we just have the digital downloads. Now, those who do digital downloads, if you've never done them before, I want to talk about one item that most people who don't use digital on a regular basis won't know about. So let's talk about that real quick. But before I do that, let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm going inside these squares to show that these squares with my darkest color, to show that these squares are further away. They're in shadow. I want these outside pieces to kind of stand out, so they'll be lighter, and the underside, the inside of these squares will be darker, and that's what I'm building on right now. Now back to digital files. So when you get a digital file, you have some options. I mean, some people say you can get them in SVG, you can get them in JPEG, you can get them in PNG, you can get them in white fill. So I don't know if you guys know what the differences are. So I'm going to tell you what the differences are, and then I'm going to tell you what we are going to have available for each digital file. So a JPEG file is a file with white background. A JPEG has a white background. So it's kind of like you would get the image on a piece of paper like this. Like there'll be a whole white outline and the digital image, but you can up and down that size. However, you will always have the white around the edge. If you get a PNG file, that means that all you're going to get is the outline here. You're not going to get any white background, which also means that your image is see-through, okay? So if I wanted to take two images and put them together, let's just say, for example, this one, and I try to put the happy birthday behind or in front, the behind would show right through his body because the PNG it's almost like a clear. You see the lines, but when you put it in your program, it'll print out white, but whatever color your paper is. But that causes a problem when you're trying to mask. Like if you're trying to put 2 or 3 of them together, you'll be able to see all the lines on there. So that's when you generate something called a white fill. So you have all the black lines, just like I talked about in a PNG, but we fill in the character and all the design in white so that when you overlay them on top of each other, you can't see the other one through, and that helps you mask whatever image you want to do. If you're going to have digital files, it's best to have those PNG white fills so that you can overlap your images and make scenes yourself out of what you have. So I have included JPEG for those that want simple and sweet, PNG for those that want the clear, no background type image, and then also the white fill for those that want to layer their images. We're switching markers now because I know how important that is to me when I'm using a digital file. So I did have to go through and make them all into that format. It does take quite some time depending on how many digital files you're trying to do. But I wanted to make sure that you had all of the options. Now, some people want an SVG file. So an SVG file is usually a file that's used by a specific program like Silhouette or, I don't know, some of those other ones. I know Silhouette because that's the one I have. And that's the one that I use the most. However, with Silhouette, I can also upload JPEG, PNG, all those different things. So what difference does it make if I make an additional one for the other one? So I didn't do that. I didn't make any of the SVG files because I didn't feel like, I felt like that was specific to something and it would be easier to do the PNG white fill because then you can use it with any program that you want. That's what you use, Cheryl? Yeah. I like the Silhouette. That's the one that I've always used. So I'm doing the edges of this cone and I'm enhancing some of the spots where I put the darkest color so that it stays dark but also softens the edges for the next color. So that is what I'm doing right now while we're talking about this. So I wanted to give you the most options. Now, some places you just get a JPEG or a PNG or even a PDF, but honestly you can't do a whole lot with a PDF. It just is what it is. There's not much manipulating. It's really hard to manipulate a PDF file. So I tried to stay away from PDF because I don't really think that you need PDF if you have JPEG and if you can use JPEG and PNG, it's better for this purpose. Now, once you pull it in, and you can pull it in anywhere, like I do mine sometimes in Pages because I have a Mac, and I just pull it in, and then I can resize it whatever size that I want. And like I said, these are large files, so you can make them 8 by 10. You can probably make them bigger than that if you really wanted to. I don't know why you would, but if you did, you could. You can pull them into Word and reformat them, or whatever program you use for your digital images. It's really easy, especially with the white fill, because the white fill is it's going to look like kind of like this without the white border. It's just going to be black lines with white on the inside, so you can move it anywhere you want, and you can move it in or out and make it as big or small as you want. So you have a lot of options with those types of files. So that is what you will be finding, and I thought that it would be easier for me to explain all of that on a live rather than waiting for the reveal of the shop, the grand opening, because in the grand opening I didn't want to spend too much time talking about those. I want to share with you what we have. And I'm pretty sure you guys want to know that and not this at that time. So that is why I thought tonight would be a good night to show you a digital image. And in addition to that, I decided to make it a freebie. So I wanted to rework the line work and change the eyes and do some other stuff to this image from... It was released once before in a little bit different. It had different eyes and different, stuff. And so I wanted to change it up a little bit before I showed it to you. So that is why I was running late today, because I really wanted to present you guys with what will be a freebie. And it might not be the only one. I haven't decided yet. I still have a few other ones in the works. If I get them done, they'll be there as well. If not, I may add them later. But I remember when I was first coloring, I loved when somebody would actually give a couple of freebie images that I could practice on before I spent all the money on nice, really good, worked on a long time images. I wanted some to play with and some that I didn't have to pay for. I mean, honestly, let's be real. Everyone likes that. And if we do any drawings or anything like that for the grand opening, not everyone will win. So if I give anyone and everyone that comes to the website the free digital download, then you guys win too. Everybody wins. And who doesn't like that, right? I mean, that's the best. I am so excited. You guys I know you guys have been waiting for the shop to open, but let me just tell you how hard it is when you want to share what's coming and you can't. It's very hard to hold all of that information back, but sometimes we have to do it. And note to self, I have a line in here that's wrong right there. I need to take that line out. So note to myself. So sometimes, and I'll show you, that's how you can see that you're not, like, nobody would probably even notice it. But when all these lines are open right here, and then this one's open, and then there's that one line right there. See how that one line's right there? That one should not be there. So I'll fix that before the digital download is ready. Yeah, it is hard. It's real hard. I mean, I just want to show you guys everything. But, we'll have monthly releases, which will be super fun. We're not exactly sure on the date, but we'll probably try to target it a month from the release, so somewhere around mid-month. So there's that for exciting purposes. They will be new ones. There are a few images that I mean, there are some that are not going to come out again that were out before, but there were some that people really, really liked and can't get anymore. So I'm bringing those back in digital form. I think that should make everyone happy. At least they have the opportunity to get it. So last color is E31. That's the lightest color, which is where I'm going to put on the centers of these lines right here, because I want those to stay fairly light so that you can see the difference between the depth of the inside and the light of the raised part of the cone. Yeah, it's so hard to keep a secret. But if you live close enough and you stop at my house, you can't miss anything because it's all over my craft room right now. We're trying to build an area for inventory and such. So we're working on that right now. But right now it's all in my craft room. So if you live close enough, you can come visit me and get a sneak peek because I can't really hide it. But if not, I'm sorry. You'll have to wait. I'm going to go down the center of these with a little bit thicker line to kind of try to push the ink to the sides so we have a little bit of a highlight in the middle. If this doesn't work with the 31, I will probably use the colorless blender for the same purpose when the ink dries. So as you can see, it came out a little bit lighter. You'll be there tomorrow. It came out a little bit lighter in these center areas than I really wanted to. So I'm going to go back in and hit it a little bit more with this 37 to deepen it up so you can really see the variance between the two areas. So I'm just going to go in here and darken some of these areas that I really want to be a bit darker. And then we'll just blend that out here in a minute. But we kind of washed it out a little bit and I want it to be darker. So you can always go back and layer. Even if I wanted to go back tomorrow and layer some more colors, the alcohol and the ink will reactivate and you can always go back and touch up something that you colored before. So you can always fix it anytime you want. If you didn't already know that, that is a really big benefit of alcohol markers. You can for sure do that. I wish you could be here tomorrow, Cheryl. Okay, now we're just going to blend that out just a tad with the E35. I love ice cream, and since it's my birthday coming up, and Dale's birthday and all that good stuff, I thought the ice cream was appropriate. Ice cream is my favorite. The only thing I like different on my birthday is one of those cookie cakes. I love those cookie cakes from the Great American Cookie Company. Those are my favorite birthday cakes. And I love ice cream. I really love ice cream. It's my fave. I am particular though. I like the real ice cream, not the generic ice cream. So you see how much that helped in making that look more in depth? There's a lot of light on this, so it looks a little bit better in person than what you see on there. But if I hold it up like this, maybe you can see it a little better. It's a little darker for me than what you see because I have so much lighting around me. But anyway, that's our cone. Now I'm going to, let's just work up the project. So next we're going to do this sauce right here. I don't know if you ever get one of those waffle cones with the chocolate all over it, but we're about to make that all kinds of chocolatey. So I have E29 for the chocolate. This is going to be dripping chocolate right here. So I'm going to put some dark just right on these edges where the little pup is. I mean, he doesn't look like a typical puppy that I would probably draw, but we're going to make him a pup tonight. He could be a monster or he could be a whatever you want. You choose. Okay, so we have a little bit of that dark right around the corner where it would be over the cone, and then we're going to put some way down here in these little dips. So we want a little bit of this dark chocolate in the little dip areas. And then it'll get lighter as it goes up. Okay, that was E29. We're going to use E27. And you guys, I need to clean my markers so bad. So once we kick off the website, we'll probably have a marker maintenance tutorial coming soon. Because I feel like, why not teach you guys while I'm filling mine? So we'll go through the process of what I do and how I check them and all that kind of stuff. I think that will be super helpful. So we'll definitely be doing that. So I'm moving up the chocolate. And we got E25 and 23. 23 will look a little bit more on the milk chocolatey side. This one will soften up those edges and give us just a little space left for our last color. I want to try to keep some of that dark right under the hands. So I'm trying not to touch the first color I put down underneath the hands. And same down here on these edges, I really want them to stay dark. So I'm really only going over the part where I put the 27 and not where I put the 29. I want to keep that 29 deep dark chocolate right on the edges of this dripping chocolate. And you can kind of see that actually in the video, I think, where the real dark part is around the base. This is E23. I'm just going to touch it a little bit, make sure everything is blended well. This is where we're going to fill in that remaining area. And you know how we talk about all the time, you just have to work it a little bit. First, let the ink kind of play around, move around. And then we're going to go in and soften those edges so that it will cover up any of those lines. And you can do that as many times as you need. Just make sure you keep the paper wet. And it will eventually blend it all together exactly like it's supposed to. That is the process of how alcohol inks work. Alcohol marker ink works. So there we go. Perfect. All right. Now, I am going to do his little tongue. So I'm going to use a little bit of RV42. And then I'm going to come in with like RV, I don't know, 11 probably. I just want a little bit darker up here on the top. And you could really play around with him. You could even make his tongue a little bit brown, like he's been licking the chocolate, or, you know, there's so many things you can do. R11. I'm going to go from the outside right up into that dark color, just so we can keep some of the darker color in the back and the lighter color in the front. I'm also going to need a little bit of this in the ears, so I'm going to go ahead and put some in now. This is the R11. Yes, R11. I was double checking. I was pretty sure by looking at it on the paper that it was R11, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't speaking wrong. Okay, and then I'm going to use R12 just to deepen those ears a little bit. So I'm just going to put it along the area where the darkest part would be. So just in these little bends and folds right here. So like right here and then right here. So that we have that two-tone color going on. Now, here's the little bit challenging part. I am going to actually use, starting with N8, I'm going to go N8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I'm going to use almost the whole stretch of end markers for this little puppy. So I'm going to start off with the N8, and that is I'm going to put where I want the spots to be. This is going to be a spotted dog. So I'm going to start with one up here. And whenever we do spots, we don't want them to be, you know, clean edges. We want just scraggly edges because it's a spot, you know? So we don't want it to be plain, ordinary, whatever. So like with this one, we're just gonna do like that. And we're just gonna color around the edges, get that colored in. He's just gonna have a strange spot right there. He's just gonna be a spotted dog, almost like a Dalmatian, kinda, except he doesn't really look like a Dalmatian. And I'm gonna try, oh, you have to go? Okay, Meg, we'll see you later. I'm gonna try not to put the spots on the same side on the other part of his ear. So I want them to be different. So we're gonna actually do like a spot right here on this part of his ear, because that'll be different than the other two sides. And then maybe I'll put another little tiny one like right here. There we go. Now we're gonna have to give him a few more. So we're gonna do one like maybe right here. And I just kind of let my hand go and draw some little crooked, scraggly lines in order to get my spots. And I'm pretty sure I want those to stay fairly dark, so I'm filling most of them in with this marker. This one I kind of stopped, but I think I'm going to go back and fill it in a little bit more. And we may do it more than once just to make sure that it's darker, and we could just grab the darker marker, but I didn't do that, so I didn't bring that one out. So for now, we're just going to do it like this, and we'll change as we need to. I feel like there's like so much light on my desk right now, like exceptionally more than normal. Okay, trying to make that a little bit better for you guys. There we go. All right, so we should maybe put a little bit, like I kind of want to give him a, like around his eye. Like I kind of want to give him a spot on one of his eyes. So we're going to make it this one. And I don't want it to be like perfectly rounded or anything like that, because that is not how nature would do it. It would just be whatever it is. And so that's why I didn't make it straight or perfectly round like the eyeballs. I just made it kind of random, building that little fence around the eyes so I don't like throw my marker into it. So that's why I went around the eye first. And we are going to give him a little bit of fur look, so we'll probably be stretching these spots out and, you know, all that good stuff. Although he may be a little bit more of a smooth dog than normal, just because the focus is more on Ice Cream and stuff than the actual puppy. But how cute is that? Holy cow. Okay, I think we need a little bit up here. And we're going to make this one pretty small. It's just going to be a little spot up here. And I'm just randomly picking spots so that he has some here, some there. We did down here on that one. So on this one, we're going to make him have one paw that is almost all black. And the other paw will not be black. So he's got a great big spot on one paw and not on the other. So that'll make it look different on both sides. How cute is he? My little spotted puppy. All right, so now I'm gonna jump down to N4. So we started with N8 and now we're jumping to N4 so that I can do some of these little shadow areas around the ice cream. We're going to skip around on our markers this time. Instead of doing dark, medium, light like we normally do, we're just going to skip around, take care of some of these spots we need to take care of. And he's going to be a little bit gray, but also a little bit white. So we're not, this is the darkest color that we're going to go. This gray. And then we'll get lighter and lighter from there. There'll be a bit of shadow in those folds on his ears. And then I'm going to do underneath this arm right here, a little bit there. His little bulgy belly hanging over, which is what happens to us when we eat so much ice cream. But that makes it fun. I still like ice cream. That's not going to stop me. Okay, and we're going to get lighter now a little bit. So N3, which depending on how dark it looks when I touch the paper, I'm not sure if it'll be this one. No, it'll be the next one that we go around the outside on. The next marker that I use, because I don't want to put too much gray in here. Just a little bit here and there. That's all I need. But my around the outside kind of color is going to be the next one. Can you tell I just sometimes make this stuff up as I go along? When you've been coloring for as long as I have, you will be doing the same thing, I promise. And we got to do some right here because we want to keep that dark underneath the cone. Oh, and we have to blend this one out just a little bit because this is the last color that we used. I'm building that little bit of a dark area where his ear dips down. He's adorable. Oh, thanks. I'm so glad you like him. He's starting to look even cuter as he gets color to him, huh? I think he does. Okay, so he's going to be somewhat gray. So we're going to go ahead and use N2 to go around the outside. So we're just going to go around the outside of all of the areas. And then we'll start filling in from there. So I'm going to put a little bit around his little paw there. A little bit around this one. I hope you guys are interested in digital images because they can be so much fun. Because you can do so much more with them. I know sometimes it's just handy to have that stamp, and I do like to stamp as well. I am a big buy the stamp before I buy the digital image, but if there's a stamp set that you really like, it's really cool if you can manipulate it. I usually buy my Sweet November stamps in digital format because I really like them where I can mess with them, build backgrounds, and do all kinds of cool stuff. I also have a bunch from the Greeting Farm that have build a scene backgrounds that I've used over time. I bought a bunch of theirs during COVID. I was playing around with making scenes. It was fun. I liked it. I was happy with it. Oh, I don't want to forget like his little nose. And then we don't want to forget to go around the outside of the tips of his little paws here. All right, now I'm going to jump back to my darker colors. So I'm going to go to N7. And this is where I'm going to go over what I already put on there earlier, just to kind of deepen up some of those spotted areas. Keep those dark the way that I want them to be. And careful not to change the pattern too much of what I have on there. Not make them too much bigger. Just kind of try to stay within that original area that I put there for with the darkest color. But we're just deepening that all up right now. And filling in any of these that we didn't finish. There we go. And on the little paw, we want to get that in there. And then I'm just going to put a little bit around this one as well, even though it's pretty dark, but we want to keep them all fairly consistent. So if you do it to one, you got to do it to all. There we go. So cute. So much fun. All right, so next we're going to skip back to the lighter colors. So N0 to blend out those really light colors we put in there. And we could have used one, but at this point I kind of want it to be lighter, so I'm just skipping right to the N1, N0, not the N1, the N0. So I want it to be really light. I'm going to be careful when I go around the spots because I don't want to have them bleed out. So you'll be able to go over it with the color, but when you get close to the really dark black, you want to just barely touch there so you don't bleed that dark color into your light area of your puppy, of your ice cream pup. I might even have to call him that. He didn't have a name yet for the website, but maybe I should call him Ice Cream Pup. Aw, his little ears are mostly done. We're probably going to come in with the colorless blender and wash a little bit of that out, but for now, he's looking pretty cute. So I'm making sure all these colors blend nicely with the white. That's the goal right now. I hope you guys are having a good week so far. My week is better than my weekend was. Not that I had a bad weekend. I didn't. I got to have a surprise visit with my mom for Saturday afternoon. That was nice. The circumstances not so nice, but it was nice to get to spend all that time with my mom. Just getting some color in the cheeks and around the face, but I'm not blending this part out. I'm just getting a little bit of that color in so the whole thing matches, but we'll blend it out with the colorless blender here in a few minutes. Now, in addition to all of this, we need to go into the whites of the eyes with the N1, and I'm going to do that just right along the edge here. We are going to give him colored eyes in there, but this is the whites, and I like to just put a little shadow around in that white part of his eye. All right, my colorless blender time. And we're still going to use two more, of the, maybe, of the darker colors. So I want to wash this out a little bit first. So I'm going to go just in the areas I'd like to be even more white. And I'm just going to blend and wash out that color. You can't do this with all the colors, but you can do it with the light colors, because some of them will leave like spots and weird stuff. So know your markers before you do this with something other than these C colors. This will work with all the C colors, but it won't necessarily work with all the other colors in the family. But if you know how your markers work, you'll be fine. You want to make sure you don't get too much of that colorless blender close to any of those dark black spots, because if you get it too close, the colorless blender will suck that black right into the area you put the colorless blender. So you got to be a little careful, but using this will give you a little bit texture. Yeah, it is always nice being with your mom. So you enjoy every bit you can get. Okay, we have a few areas here where the blending didn't go quite so well, so I may have to lighten those areas blend them out a little bit with that N0 again in a minute. Ooh, let's do the eyes while we're here. So I'm just going to go along the edge of that line just to soften it up with this colorless blender. I do not want to touch that black. And this will kind of push that ink back out. Well, let's do his little paws too. This little paw. I almost felt like I should have been saying, this little piggy went to the market. This little piggy stayed home. All right. I also want to soften the ears a little bit. So I'm going to use my colorless blender on a tip to tip with this R11. So I'm going to take the lightest, which is the colorless blender, pick up a little bit of that pink, start in the tip of his ear, and then start coming down with it just to get that pink in there a little bit more than what I have right now, but not dark. I don't want it to be dark pink. I just want it to be a little bit more pink, but soft, if that makes sense. Kind of filling in that a little bit more. We did wash a little bit of it out when we were doing that earlier, so good to get a little bit more back in there. Now when you do that, you will see it on your marker. See how it's on my marker? And that's okay, because you just take a little white piece of paper and you wipe until it's gone. And then your marker's good as new. No problems. It does not mess up your pens to do the tip to tip. So no worries about that. Okay, let's go in with N6 real quick. And I'm just going to work around the edges of this area, just the edge. And because this one has a lot more colorless blender, it may lighten up those edges, or I may need the next color. I'm not sure yet. And maybe I don't want to lighten them, but I do want to make this one out a little bit further than it is right now. Right there. Kind of want that to look like a little splatter spot on his eye. You could probably skip this part if you wanted to when you're using yours. It's up to you on how much detail you want. I think we'll skip the 5. We won't use the N5 at all. I'm going to put that one away. And now, since we're moving up on our little pup, we need to do the eyes. So I'm going to do the eyes close to the same color as the ice cream, because I thought, how fun would that be? So the colors I chose for the ice cream are going to be like a chocolate chip mint. So I'm going to use this YG45 and this YG41. Ooh, this one needs some ink. Hold on, I'm checking the lid for cracks. Nope, no cracks. All right, this one's really low on ink, so I better fill it before it goes bad. And then I think I'm going to grab this YG17 just for the eyes, because I needed something a little bit darker to really get those eyes going. So I grabbed the YG17. So I want these eyes to really, really stand out. So I'm going to go around the center part with this darkest color, like right around the black part with the darkest color. And then I'm going to do a few of these little lines, striation type lines, to give him, you know, a little bit more realistic looking eye. Not that he looks like a realistic kind of dog, but you know what I mean. It's your picture. You can make it any way you want. So we're going to just put some more. Make sure that your lines go some short, some long. Even some of the long ones can be side by side, and some of the short ones. It's just whatever you want. They just don't have to be consistent at all. All right, so now we're going to switch to the YG45. And I'm going to start with going around the outside of the eye. This one is still going to be pretty dark, just not as dark as the other one. And I'm going to put a few of those little lines coming from the other direction, just so we have a lot of eye stuff going on here. And these are big eyes. We want to color them in and make them look beautiful for reals. So, few from this end. You don't have to do it on all of them. Just get a couple of them in there. There we go. Now we have one more color. The eye's already looking good. Oh, I was your lifesaver on Saturday. I'm so glad I could be there for you. YG41 is the last color. Well, we may have to use G00. I almost always use G00 on eyes because it just does this really magic thing to those eyes, and I just wasn't sure if this YG41 would do it or not, and I don't think it's going to. So it's close though, it's just not quite there. So I'm just going to fill that in, and before I do the G00, I'm going to repeat the two darkest colors first. So the YG17, I just want to deepen up those areas, but you had to get them in there before you put that light color in there. So I'm just going to deepen right around the eyes. And sometimes you don't have to do this if you use a really dark color, but if you use a light color, you kind of have to do it again. This time I'm trying to touch the paper even lighter so that those lines aren't as dark as they were before. But when we use the G00, it's going to kind of wash it out a little bit. So we want to be careful to make sure we get them in there before we use that color again. There we go. I'm not going to use the YG41 again. I'm just going to use the two darker ones. So YG45 around the outside of the eye. And I'm going real careful because I don't want to get it in the white. But if you do, you'll have to use the colorless blender to push it back into the eyeball. I redid the lines on this image to make them thicker so it's a little bit easier to color. So you guys would be able to color it a little bit easier. I like G00. Some people use G000, but 00 is my favorite. And now we're going to do that, what we do, it's going to be a half circle, just like this. We're going to touch the paper and do a half circle over that eye, but we're going to do it in the same spot, back and forth a couple of times until we start seeing that color move. I want that color to move out of this area. Starting to see it now. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but when we put the darker in one more time, it will be great. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. Just going around that center area where we put the lightest color and adding this over top. This one has a lot of colorless blender, so it starts moving that color around and it makes it look really cute. But you need that depth. So we're going to put the YG45 around the outside again. This repeating of these colors really only happens if you're doing really light eyes. You don't necessarily have to repeat it that many times, but as you can see, the darker you make it, the better it looks. I think we'll use this YG45 to kind of draw those lines back in. This time we're not using the darkest color so that it'll be lighter than it was. Because we don't want to wash all those out because they're pretty cool looking. And I'll show you what I mean when I can hold this up close, which I'll be able to do in just a minute. I'll go over this one. Can't remember if I did, but it didn't look like it did. we'll know if one's darker than the other, won't we? So we'll know pretty soon. Well, I'm kind of liking how they're coming out now. They look really good. Let's see if you can see them really good. Okay, there you go. There's a good shot at those eyes. Aren't they cute? You got a little bit of lines, not too obvious, but definitely makes those eyeballs pop. And I really like that. Now, let's work on our, let's go ahead and leave our YG17 in there. And we're going to work on our, like chocolate chip mint-ish ice cream. So I'm going to put this YG17 in this area right here, because this is the bottom of the ice cream scoop. I mean, that was my intent. You could make it whipped cream too if you really wanted to, I guess, around the bottom, but I'm going to make it more ice cream. So this part that dents in has like a lot of ice cream, and then this underneath the cherry, I love cherries by the way, needs to have some dark green as well. And then this bottom side that's going into the eyes, now because we put that black right there, you want to be real careful when you go by the black that you don't bleed that into your green. The only one I worry about when I'm worried about coloring next to something is the black and the red, because they, if you move them into your color, it is really, really hard to fix that. So I went along the bottom, and now I'm just kind of going a little bit in these areas just to show that they have some shaded areas and some not. So I'm just putting a little bit in there. I don't want too much of this green YG17. I really want it to be more of this YG45. So that's why I just used a little bit of it. Because you can tell this one of them has a little bit more blue in it than the other one. I'm gonna keep the ice cream going in this direction. You can choose whatever direction you want, but just make sure you keep it all in one direction, kind of like hair. And then the middle section will be our last color. So we'll do the same thing with this bottom half. We just want to make sure you don't pick up any of that black and drag it into your green, because it would definitely be noticeable and hard to wash out. Black and red are always hard to wash out. So keep that in mind. Usually I try to color the black and red last so that I don't run into that issue, but we didn't have that benefit this time. YG41, because I wasn't sure where I was going to put the spots, and then I just got spot happy and didn't pay attention really to where I was putting them. Filling this in, but if I put the color on there for too long, it's going to wash out what I put in there, so I have to be very careful. This one I'm going to go back and forth over that area, and yes, I know you can still see the lines, but if you just give it a few minutes, we'll wash those out. Just get that to wash out a little bit, then it will look more like ice cream and less like hair. And like I said, you can go over that as many times as you need to until it blends, but just give it a second in between, because that ink's going to move around the paper. The more saturated, the more the ink will move. So you want to let it dry a little bit in between applications, and then it'll get there. I'm okay with it being just a little bit rough because we're about to put chocolate spots into our ice cream, which I think is going to be really fun, because we have a chocolate chip mint, so we need some little chocolate chip mint. So I'm going to use the E25 and E23. I mean, they're right here on my desk. Where are they? Oh, there they are. So I'm going to use the 25 and 23. Now sometimes, you know, chocolate chip mint just has little like small pieces, like just a line like that, and sometimes they have a little bit more like a square. So you can make them however you want. It's up to you. I'm going to make some in the E25, and then the rest I'll make in the E23, so we have a little bit different colors going on here. Let's make this one go the other way. Let's put some down here, some this way, some that way, you know, just all over. Now I'm going to add a few more and enhance a few with my E23. So I'm going over what I did already, just working that color a little bit more. And we're going to add a couple more. Not too many though. We don't want to overpower our ice cream, but I sure do like those chocolate chunks in my chocolate chip mint ice cream. Just saying. I'm not a fan of chocolate ice cream, but I sure like it when my chocolate chip mint has some flavor in it. All right, I'm going to take my YG41 and go over those chocolate stripes real quick, just to soften them up a bit so they don't look so harsh on top of my ice cream. It'll just soften them up and give me one last chance to blend all that color together. It kind of helps soften them and make them look like they're under the ice cream rather than on top of the ice cream, which is where you will find chocolate chip mints, under the ice cream. And then we have the cherry. And I'm going to tell you, when I do cherries, I like to use a bit of the 30s in the R's. So I'm going to use R59, R37, and then R46 because I feel like the 30s are more of a cherry look. So I'm going to put a little bit of dark right here around where the stem goes into the cherry, and then along the bottom where it's dipped into the ice cream a little bit with my darkest color. And then I'm going to go in with the R37, which is also still going to be a dark color, but I'm going to do around the edges. I didn't take my other cap off, so I hope this one's not real wet or it's going to leak on my paper. And then go up the cherry so I can get this to blend a little bit more. So pretty. I love when the red blends. It's so beautiful. Red is difficult, but it's so pretty. Here's the R46. And this is almost like what I call fire engine red, kind of. But look, it's perfect. So, so, so darn cute. Look at that. Isn't he adorable? And his little ice cream all happy. Let's take our white gel pen and put a little bit of white gel pen on there so it can dry while we're making the card. So the first thing I want to do is go in here, and even though these are already white, I'm telling you, if you put white gel pen in them, it makes them pop a little bit, even though it's white on white. So never miss out on your little white gel pen because it's well worth it. I'm going to give him just an extra little dot in his reflection. Give him just a little bit of shadow. It's almost like he's going to have a shiner eye. Just kidding. There we go. Just want to put a little bit in there, like it's shadow underneath his eye. And then I definitely want some on the cherry. And put a little bit on his ear, just to get that color going. If you don't use your white gel pen, you should. And what most people ask is there a particular place you should put the white gel pen? Like, how do you know what the right place to put it is? I struggled with that for a very, very long time. and I wouldn't even use my white gel pen because of that specific purpose. I want to put a little bit here so it looks like this chocolate is kind of shadowing over the edge of the cone, you know, so we'll add a little bit there. But you can put the white gel pen anywhere you want. It's really up to you. Where do you want to put your white gel pen? I mean, I just finally gave up with where's the right spot to put it and decided I'll just put it anywhere I want to, and it makes me happy. Just having the white in there, it makes a big difference. So if you've been putting off putting white in yours because you're worried about what it's going to look like, or did I put it in the right place? Don't worry. Just go happy with your white gel pen. If you're struggling with what white gel pen to have, let me tell you, this is my absolute favorite white gel pen ever. I have used almost all of it. As you can see, you can't even see the ink anymore. It's all up in here. But this is the Karen pen. It's the Deco Gel Milky White. I freaking love this pen. And the best part is it's refillable. So you just take this out, put a new one in, and you keep the barrel. So I don't have to buy the pen again. That's what I love, love, love about it. So I thought for our card, 'cause I love you guys, thanks for coming, I picked the heart paper. And then I thought these two colors would look really good with our puppy and our hearts. So my only question is, do I want the green to be the base of the card, or do I want the pink to be the base of the card? So I'm just testing it. Oh, I want the green to be the base. So this is the one that I have to cut. So my base is an A2, so it's going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I am just trimming this down by 1/4 of an inch so that it can mat on the frame. And then I'm going to trim this one down 1/4. I can get you a link. I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that with them. And maybe in the future I'll be able to carry it in the shop. But for right now, I don't currently have a link. But if you're just looking for the link so you can get one, I can definitely give you the link for that. So 4 1/4, the first one I did at 4, and the next one I'll do it 3 1/4. Talking to myself to get my measurements right, because I can't tell you how many times I cut this wrong. Then this one, oh, that's the scrap one. This one fits on top of this with that 1/4 of an inch type dealio around the edge. So I love that. And then this one, but I'll put the link in this, I'll put the link under your name, Diana, in this live post. So you'll know where to find it. But it'll tag you in particular, but then other people can see it too when they see the live. But as soon as the live's over, I will put the link in there. But I love, love, love this pen. I mean, I've tried so many other ones, and it's just the one that's lasted the longest. I mean, if you think about it, I started using it when it was brand new, and it was like to write here, and I've already used all of that, and it still works every time I use it, which never happens. So frustrating, but I love that pen. Now I have all of the Deco Gel pens, but I really don't use them all that much. I'm just not a glittery gel pen kind of girl. Like, I love that, but not for cards. Like, I use it for Bible journaling and, you know, coloring other stuff, not for cards. But, so I bought them all because I like it for that. But for cards, I use the white one all the time. I did use the green one time. Something alien related, I think. I don't remember. If you guys watch my lives all the time, you might remember, but I don't remember. I just remember I used it. Oh, I think I used it on a troll. I think I used it on the troll to, like, for the belt or something like that, so it would really stand out, and it did. Okay, so then we're going to put this one on top, and then we have a couple of options for our sentiments. I had an idea before the live started, but then I want to see if this happy birthday I showed you guys a few minutes ago works on this card, because I think it just might work. I think it just might work. You have several of those pens, but you never knew you could refill it. Oh, well, surprise, surprise. All the Deco Gel pens work like that. It's kind of funny. When you buy the full set, they give you a refill pack. See? When you buy the full set. So I have some of the metallic one refills, and then some of the matte, and then there's the white one. So I have a refill for it. But yeah, they just send them to you like this. And that's all you need. It's pretty cool. I like it. All right, here's our card. And then, oh my goodness. He's so cute. And then I have this happy birthday. I was wondering if this would work on there. Might be too big, but we could probably use it. Because this is so cute. Dale made this. He made this for me when I needed a birthday sentiment. And I thought it was cute, but I haven't. He made a couple of them, and I haven't really had a way to use it yet. So I kind of like that. Let me show you what my other option is. So I have these, if you've never seen, this is Doodlebug Designs Incorporated. So they have words. They have happy birthday and I love you and all kinds of words. And this one, before the live, I colored it with my Copic marker. See, I put black on it because I thought that would look good with the pup. But I wasn't sure if it would dry or work. So I tested it by coloring it before the live and giving it time to dry, and it looks like it worked. So you just peel the word out, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's pretty easy. They're pretty gentle, delicate, so you definitely want to make sure all of the tops of the letters are up before you lift it, otherwise you'll tear it. I have torn a few of these. So they're very, very delicate, but I really like them. I'm trying to get that piece that stuck to my finger. Well, I guess I could just leave it on my finger, huh? There it is. That one, that's the inside of my P. That's the inside of my other P on my happy. And see, I think this one's going to go better because I think the black is what's going to make this be perfect. So I have so many birthdays this month, so that's why birthday cards are high on the agenda during the lives, because it's a crazy birthday month for us. Like, it's my cousin's birthday today. It's my mother-in-law's yesterday. Mine's coming. Dale's coming. Mom's coming. There's a whole bunch of us in June. I had 2 other friends whose birthdays were today. Yeah, it's a big month. I guess Geminis bring Geminis and Cancers, because that's the end of the month's sign is, I think my mom's is Cancer. Okay, hold on. Let me lift this back up. I need to move it a little bit. So I never press them down until I'm completely ready, just in case I need to line them up a little bit more. I feel like that might be perfect. All right, so now that I have them where I want them, I'm going to flip this over and just rub it with this soda pop. And I call it that because, look, it looks like a can of soda. Oh, you're a Cancer too, Anna? Wow. See, even more birthdays that I know about. And another girl in our group, her name is Tammy, and her birthday is the same day as mine. So there are a lot of us. A lot of us. Which is good, because you know we good. Here's the eye. I want to make sure I didn't forget the eye and birthday. So I'm just going to press that with my pop here. All right, we'll save this birthday for another day. And we'll put this guy on here. And I think I wonder if he would wobble. I mean, he's kind of big. I don't know if he would wobble or not. I think I only have small wobbles left. So maybe I just pop him up. I feel like he needs to be a little off the page. He needs to stand out. So, oh, you love it? Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you like it. I love to color here. So, and I'm a quick and simple kind of gal. So I don't really make all the elaborate cards. I like them quick and simple, but that's just my style, you know? I mean, some people have the talent to do all of that, like fancy stuff, but I feel like I did enough work on coloring it that I don't need to do all the rest. I want you to look at my coloring. No, I'm just kidding. Instead of focusing on everything else. So I cut some of these a little big. That's what I love about these sheets of foam that I got on Amazon, is that you can make them whatever size you want. Whatever size you want. And sometimes you can just cut them in half. If you want to do like the matting, like if I would have popped up the matting, you just use the whole square and stick it under there, and it just makes everything easier. And these big pieces make it a lot bigger than putting 10 million tiny pieces of this foam stuff on here. Because nobody likes to sit there and peel the backings off 10 million of those little thingies. But then I use all the little extra pieces I had so they don't go to waste. And let's see, will this one fit right in here? It's a little bit big, but that's okay. We'll cut it down. And then I bet it will fit right here just perfectly. Yep. Yep. We're almost done, but you know we got to put some bling on here. We can't be going without bling because that just doesn't work for me. I got to have bling everywhere. So I am a big time bling fan. It is my favorite. So I usually do a lot of bling on my cards. Unless it's specifically for a boy and I know that in advance. Sometimes I'll leave the bling off because I feel like they probably don't love it as much as I do. I think I'm going to add one more piece, and this one's too big to put on that side right there. I like to use a lot of this stuff because I don't like any of my part of my card to dip down, especially if I'm going to put it in an envelope and mail it. So I always flip it over and like feel it. Is there any section that like sinks down in? And if there is, I need a little bit more. But if not, then I'm good to go, and I can just peel this stuff off and we can stick this little guy on there. And then we can put a little bit of bling around there, or maybe a lot, who knows. And then we will be finished. We'll be preparing for our Thursday Night Live. I have a few more things to get ready and to do, but we are almost ready for the kickoff launch of the new store. So I'm super excited. We didn't have to hold much back. We were able to get everything in there and loaded and good to go, and I was worried about that. We've been working really hard so that we wouldn't have to hold anything back. Okay, I'm just looking at my bling here to see which color I want to put on there. And I think, let me see. Maybe we'll put, I don't know. Maybe we'll put a color instead of that. like, I think I might have, let's see, I think I have some clear. Oh, I think these will look good. And they don't stand up higher than they're still clear, but if I put them in the right place, you'll be able to see the color underneath them, and they won't overpower the card. So I think that's what we're gonna do. And I'm even gonna use the bigger ones. I tend to like smaller ones, but sometimes you just gotta go big. I'm gonna put 3 on one side and 2 on the other. That gives me my odd number that I need. And then I like to use this kind that I can just glue down myself, because it seems like those sticker ones, they just never stick and they drive me crazy. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put this bigger one on this side and the littler one right here, because, you know, it makes more sense. So I just put this Barely Art glue is my favorite. I am trying really hard to get this in the shop, but I don't think that they will help me until they can see my website. So I have to wait until after grand opening. But this is my favorite glue. It dries clear, so you can use it underneath clear embellishments and such. And then when it dries, you can't see the glue part. So in the beginning, it looks a little cloudy, but then when it dries, then you're good to go. It's awesome, because if it squeezes out under the edges, like if you put too much, you don't have to worry about that because you can't see it. It dries clear, so no problems at all. And I like no problems at all. They make me happy. I dropped the glue in the wrong place, so this is where this is where it's gonna go. Even though I really was gonna put it over a little bit further. It is what it is. Sometimes that happens. So I hope you guys learned a little bit about digital images and how much fun that you can have with them, because you could really make this guy an 8.5 by 11 if you wanted, and you could frame him and hang him on the wall, or give him to somebody for the birthday, or put him in a little kid's room or an ice cream shop, or whatever you wanted to do. Or you can make them teeny tiny, or you can make them the size that we did, and you can print as many as you want on a piece of paper. I just printed them on the hammer mill paper and then colored them up, and I really like how that came out, and that is so cute. Think of how many different ways you could color that little guy to make this card look different. And those eyes, look at those eyes. They're so cute. Doesn't this look yummy? I want ice cream now. Is that unusual? I wonder. Anybody have any questions about anything, like what we did tonight, or digital images, or when the shop's opening, or, you know, the website's going to be www.ledouxdesigns.com. So if you guys, you're in the Ledoux Designs fan page, so if you need to know how to spell it, it's in the name of the page. Super fun. What else can I show you guys, or tell you guys, or talk about? Are you guys good? You ready to see me on Thursday night? We'll see. Dale wants me to show you guys something from the release stamp set. So we might be coloring something from that. What kind of printer ink is best for digis? I think sometimes it depends on your printer. I have an HP printer. And I printed this right before the live and then colored it. So I don't have to wait for it to dry or any issues like that. But I had a printer that was also HP before this, and it was older, and I couldn't, I had to let it wait. I had to let it wait overnight. But with this one, I haven't had any problems at all. So what I would say is test anything that you have. Like, buy this, pick up this freebie on Saturday and try to print it out on your coloring paper, just one sheet, and then practice and see if you need to wait, or, you know, like print a few of them, and then one of them you try to color right away, and then the next one you try to wait a little while and see if that helps. Most printers are okay, but if it's, I don't know. I had one that wasn't, and maybe that was just because it was old. I don't know. But I haven't had any problems with this HP printer at all. It is an Office Jet Pro 9015. I got it at Best Buy. It wasn't too bad, too pricey. It was really good price. But it doesn't have to be a laser printer. I know some people think it might have to be, but it does not have to be a laser printer. You can have a cheapo printer and print out digital images. Just test your stuff. There we go. So much fun. We are going to have fun on Thursday too. So be sure to come back and join us on Thursday. I'm going to add that link in just a few minutes in there for the Deco Gel Pen. As soon as I hang up and grab that link, and then I will see you guys on Thursday. Thank you for joining me tonight. Don't forget about the free digi. We'll probably say that a million times before it's over because I don't want you to miss out. So when you go shopping, don't forget to check that section for your freebie. Thank you so much for joining me, and you guys have a great evening. Good night.